Wetlands and swamps aren't just about alligators. These areas are full of bizarre creatures and secrets waiting to be discovered. With that in mind, here are 20 strange creatures and secrets found in the swamps and wetlands. Number 20. The Yangtze River Monster. One of the easiest ways for people to think that monsters exist among them is to simply go and look at something that they don't truly recognize, and wonder if it's a monster from the deep that's come for their soul, or anything else that's attached to them. In China, on the Yangtze River, which is the biggest river in the nation, there was an event that happened in 2019 that got people spooked. Actual footage of a serpentine creature emerged from near the surface, and people could not originally tell what it was. And before you say it was the Loch Ness Monster, well, that's in Scotland and not in China, you geographical wizard. According to reports of the time, the mysterious animal was sighted in the boundaries of the Three Gorges Dam scenic area, which is a popular tourist destination for river cruises, hence why people were not only able to see it, but also film it so readily. The good news is that while it may be a monster, it's not the biggest one that you'll ever see, as it's only about 3 meters in length, so it's not going to sink any boats. That is, unless they're canoes or kayaks, and even then you'll probably be fine. As you would expect, a lot of people had theories about what this monster could be. Some even fairly noted that it could have just been a piece of debris or garbage in the river that was simply moving alongside the water. Given that the river has had a pollution problem in the past, that's not all that unlikely. However, an equally plausible take, based on the footage, is that it was some kind of water snake. People forget that there are certain species of snakes that do love the water, and sometimes they prefer to be in it over land. Many experts would agree that it was likely just a big snake swimming without a care in the world. The lesson here is that if you do see a river monster on the surface, you can film it, but do it from a safe distance and never go near it. Number 19. The New Louisiana Swamp Monster. Well, there's a long name for a monster, and this one has a twist ending that you may not predict, I guarantee it. Here's the tale. This picture was allegedly found by a hunter who was out doing some deer hunting in the Louisiana swamps, and when he went back to look at the footage his deer camera found, he discovered whatever this thing is. Yes, it doesn't look human or even like a deer or any other kind of thing that's out there. Naturally, he reported it to the police, and the media got a hold of it not too long after. But what's the twist then? Well, it's actually fake. It can be proven, because this image was actually part of the viral marketing campaign for the J.J. Abrams film Super 8. Super 8 is a film about all kinds of strange events that start taking place in some town in Ohio. And then there's a kid making a zombie movie on a Super 8 film for a competition, and he and his friends discover some crazy things, and there's aliens involved, and other creepy weird supernatural stuff. It wasn't really the best of films, to be honest with you. But anyway, they posted it online and it circulated around after that. So in the end, it's not actually a real swamp monster. Number 18. The Mississippi Skunk Ape. Yeah, I'm going to blaze through this one kind of quickly, because it just appears to be the case of a person finding something interesting in the wild and then jumping to the quickest of conclusions instead of actually considering what it really was that they saw. In this case, the person caught on camera a creature that seemed to be lurking by a tree, and they didn't immediately recognize what it was. Online, people have posted that it could have been the mysterious skunk ape that everyone keeps talking about. However, others were actually not fooled, and they felt that it was either a bear that was just reaching up for something at the tree that it was at, or may have been a gorilla that had somehow gotten free from captivity. Also, if it were a skunk ape, why wasn't it black and white? I mean, respect the lore, people. Number 17. The Honey Island Swamp Monster. All of these monsters just seem to have incredibly long names, but this is not a beast that I'll call out as being fake right off the bat, as this one is steeped in lore and mystery from the place that it allegedly emerged from. The creature allegedly lives in the swamps of Louisiana and is about 2 meters tall. Witness accounts recount its striking glowing eyes in shades of fiery yellow or haunting red, as well as a pungent, lingering aroma that permeates in the air. It might have been a relative to the skunk ape that I mentioned earlier. Since its initial finding in the 1960s, people have been trying to get more evidence on it, but have always conveniently come up short. However, you can get on a tour boat ride and try to find one for yourself if you like. Number 16. The Australian Nessie. Yes, I'm doing another video about a fake Loch Ness monster because we all know that the real one is out there, somewhere. Anyways, when it comes to this video, This is one that absolutely screams fake. Like you can't even hide how fake it is because you're going to notice incredibly quickly just how ridiculous it all becomes. Shall I begin? The beginning of the video seems fine as it's all about someone filming something that's unexpectedly huge in the waters near them. However, when that creature comes out of the water, it ends up looking really fake. Not just that, but you're going to notice that despite the video having sound, nobody on the boat that is doing anything is making any kind of noise about what it is they're seeing. If you saw something that might have been the Loch Ness Monster, you would probably make some noise about it. Even if it was just in hushed whispers, you would say something. So yeah, I'm sorry, but again, this one is not real. Now it's time for today's topic. In a remote region of the Orinoco Swamp in Venezuela, fishermen have captured what is being called the largest crocodile ever recorded in South America. The massive creature, measuring an astonishing 30 feet in length, has left locals and scientists in awe. Described as a real monster, the crocodile is far larger than any known species in the region, sparking debates about its origins. The fishermen, who initially thought they had snagged a log, were horrified when the enormous reptile surfaced, thrashing violently. It took hours of effort and teamwork to subdue the creature, which was eventually brought to shore. Its sheer size and power were unlike anything the fishermen had ever encountered. Experts who examined the crocodile are stunned. "This is beyond anything we've documented," one biologist stated. "It's larger than any Nile or saltwater crocodile, and its features suggest it could be a relic of an ancient lineage." The discovery has caused fear among locals, with many now avoiding the swamp entirely. Some believe this could be evidence of a hidden population of giant crocodiles lurking in South America's remote waterways. For now, the massive crocodile stands as a chilling reminder of the untamed power of nature. Number 15. The Irish Monster. Next up, we have some students who were trying to film a short movie out on the water. That's why some of them are in uniforms and tuxedos, and they apparently came across a so-called creature in that water. One of them even noted that it might have been their own Loch Ness Monster, which again is from Scotland, so it isn't whatever this thing is. The irony here is that a lot of people think that it's fake simply because it's not clear as to what it is. And despite having HD cameras in their hands, nobody can ever quite seem to get a close enough look at anything to get a good beat on it. Well, how convenient. Given the location of the water, it is unlikely to have been something like a whale, and it didn't have the shape of a shark, so it may have actually been fake or just something that nobody recognizes. Number 14. The Giant Anaconda. Yeah, I know that I've already talked about big anacondas, but that last video featuring one was actually fake, so I felt that it was best to show you one that's not. It's not 15 meters long, but it is almost 6 meters long, and for a snake that's still pretty big. This video comes from a group that is trying to catch a monster snake that matches the various Brazilian legends about how big they can be, and as you'll see throughout this clip, it's not easy to catch this critter. In fact, they have to go through multiple phases of attack and defense just to try and get it, as the snake goes from land to land again, and the people and crew are watching and chasing it all throughout. To be honest, it's a pretty cool clip to watch, especially when they're swimming underwater with. When they do finally get it, it takes multiple people to hang onto it and get it onto the boat so that it can be measured, and while it wasn't as long as they had hoped, it was still bigger than the average green anaconda female. And that made the hunt all that much more worth it. But don't try this yourself, you may end up living longer that way. Number 13. The Rescue Mission. How about a real and uplifting tale to change things up? In Indonesia, on a beach, some people were celebrating a birthday when they noticed that in the nearby swamp, something was stuck. As they got closer, they then realized it was a massive, leatherback turtle, and it was so big that it couldn't get out of the swamp to get back into the nearby sea. After consulting with the authorities, the people then rushed to the turtle's aid, dragging it to the sea, and it was able to get back into the water safely. It became a truly happy ending. As for how the turtle got into the swamp, well, officials think that it may have been caught in a current, and then it was let go into the swamp when it was over. So in this case, the swamp was the real monster. Number 12. The Tennessee Woods Figure. Here's another one that you likely may not have seen coming. An indie horror director was going out into the Tennessee woods to try and find a good place for a filming location. When he went back the following day, he then found a figure on camera that looked rather creepy. Specifically, it was this figure, and it looks kind of odd now, doesn't it? From the moment he posted about it, People had been wondering what it was, and there were a whole lot of theories. And it should be pointed out, the guy was a horror film director, and he found a horror-style monster, so is it synergy or is it staged? It could also just be something like a tree that's being looked at the right way to seem human, or it could be a human dressed up in a weird getup. Because again, the guy directs horror films, and he was in the woods looking for a place to film. What better way to generate a lot of press and advertising for your movie? Either way, I wouldn't worry about this so-called figure too much. Number 11. Man vs. Gator. Now I'm going to be blunt here. We should note that there totally is a monster or two in the swamps of the world that everyone should fear, and they're called crocodiles and alligators. They are some of the most vicious creatures that you may ever meet, and they will not hesitate to make meat out of you if you tick them off or try to encroach on their territory. And if you don't believe me for whatever weird reason, you need to look only at this footage from Florida, home of the gators, both good and bad. The video starts off simply enough. The man in question is going fishing for some tarpon, and isn't having the best of luck that day. And then out of the corner of his eye he notices that there's a gator lurking in the water only a few dozen feet away. This is one of the skills of the gator. They'll blend into the water and sneak up on their prey, and the man has a very natural scared reaction to that gator being so close, and immediately begins to back away, but that only gets the gator to follow him. The irony is that this typically is not what an alligator would do, but this gator came out of the water and onto dry land and had a complete stare down with the fisherman. The fisherman was like, well, that puts an end to my fishing day, and I agree that it's smart to leave while you're ahead and still alive. Except that the man was from Florida, and he decided he would try to provoke the gator to see what he would do, and then the gator chased him again. Not really a smart idea, but thankfully the gator left him alone and he was obviously alive to tell the story. As a rule, crocodiles and gators are first strike predators. If you can get out of their range, they will typically leave you alone. Number 10. The swamp eel. Next up, we're on the hunt for a creature with the one and only Jeremy Wade. He's found all sorts of monsters from places like rivers and swamps, oceans and everything in between, and he was out in the Amazon area looking for an electric eel when he actually came across another kind of elongated fish that is known as the swamp eel. There are multiple kinds of swamp eels that exist out there, including ones that live out in Asia, and the good news is that unlike the electric eel, it doesn't have electric organs that can be used to shock their foes and potentially kill people. Instead, it's often one that gets mistaken for its eel brethren, even though it's not typically an eel. It's just one that has an eel-like body, and so it gets misidentified all the time. If you see one, don't be afraid, but you should still wander away from it, just to be safe, just in case you can't tell the difference between the various kind of eels. But then again, I know that all of you out there are eel experts, aren't you? Number 9. The Titanoboa. Remember how I told you that there were prehistoric snakes that were much larger than the serpents we have in today's world? The Titanoboa was the biggest of the lot, that we've discovered, to be fair. This was a beast that ruled in places like the Amazon and apparently California about 6 million years ago. But how big exactly did it get? Well, based on the fossils that have been recovered, it would be about 15 meters long at the minimum. That's well over what we have today. Scientists believe that Titanoboa thrived in the warm, humid climate of the Paleocene epoch, which provided the perfect conditions for such a massive reptile to exist. Its immense size allowed it to prey on large animals, including crocodiles and giant turtles, which were abundant in its environment. Fossil evidence suggests that Titanoboa likely hunted in a similar way to modern-day constrictors, using its powerful body to suffocate its prey before swallowing it whole. The discovery of Titanoboa has provided valuable insights into the evolution of snakes and the ecosystems of prehistoric rainforests. But equally as important, this wasn't only a long snake, it was a heavy one. This was a snake that was an apex predator and may have weighed several tons. So you have to picture all the snakes from those monster movies that were just too big to believe, and then believe it because this one might have actually existed. Number 8. My fish. Now we'll go back to Florida for an example of just how weird and crazy it can be down there. Picture this: you're going fishing with your father, and just before the sun is set, you get a bite on your line. It feels like it's a big one, so you take your time reeling it in. And just when you get it to the shoreline for you to show off to your dad, who is of course filming you, naturally an alligator shoots out of the water and snags your fish and drags your rod into the water without a care in the world. Encounters like this are not uncommon in Florida, where alligators are a regular part of life near lakes, rivers, and swamps. These opportunistic predators are known to take advantage of easy meals, and a fish struggling on a line is an irresistible target. The sheer speed and power of the alligator's ambush left the father and son stunned, as they watched their prized catch disappear in an instant. Experts often warn anglers in Florida to remain vigilant, as alligators can be unpredictable and dangerous, especially during mating season when they are more aggressive. The incident serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between humans and wildlife in areas where their habitats overlap. While the father and son were lucky to escape unharmed, the experience likely left them with a newfound respect for the raw power of nature. The video of the encounter quickly went viral, sparking both laughter and amazement at the unpredictability of Florida's wildlife. It's a story they'll likely tell for years, a perfect example of how fishing in Florida can turn into an unforgettable adventure. Yes, it really happened, as the father and son duo oh so accurately noted. Oh my God, stranger than an average day in Florida indeed. Number 7. The Skunk Ape. I actually lightly touched upon this one before via that Bigfoot story, but I'll dive more into it here. One of the reasons that Bigfoot continues to be pervasive in all of pop culture is because so many people have seen them in various places all over North America. From Canada to Mexico, they come in all shapes and sizes. In Florida, there have been multiple cases of a special breed of Bigfoot called the skunk ape. The reason it's called this is many-fold. Like Bigfoot, it's a bipedal creature that looks like a very hairy humanoid ape. The twist here is that the fur tends to be black and white, and there's a pungent smell that will often come off of this Bigfoot variant. While that may sound like a wild and crazy tale that comes out of Florida, and it technically is, there are many people who actually believe in it, and there are many stories claiming that it exists in the swamps and various other areas of the state. There have even been rewards put out to try and find one so that people can see it for themselves. However, since one has never been found, that should tell you a whole lot about it. Number 6. The Furry Snake. In India, a very unusual snake would be found in its nearby swamps, and it caused a lot of people to tilt their heads in curiosity and in fear over what exactly that it was. You see, this was a snake that was furry. Specifically, it had a green kind of fur to it that snakes, well, they honestly don't have, at all, ever. The sight of the furry snake quickly went viral, with many speculating that it could be a new species or even a mythical creature. However, experts were quick to clarify that the fur was actually a thick layer of algae that had grown on the snake's scales. This phenomenon occurs when snakes spend extended periods in stagnant, algae-rich water, where the conditions are perfect for algae to thrive. The puff-faced water snake, being a semi-aquatic species, is particularly prone to this due to its habit of lurking in swamps and slow-moving waters to ambush prey. The algae not only gave the snake its bizarre appearance but may have also provided it with some camouflage, helping it blend into its murky surroundings. While the algae-covered snake is harmless, its unusual look understandably startled locals who were unfamiliar with such occurrences. This incident highlights the adaptability of nature and how animals can sometimes take on unexpected traits due to their environment. It also serves as a reminder of the fascinating and often strange interactions between wildlife and their habitats. Number 5. The Massive Anaconda. So what kind of snake can be bigger than a Burmese python? Well, the green anaconda and other anacondas for that matter do fit the bill. I mean, after all, that's why they made that one movie about it, remember? In this video you can see that some people in Brazil claim to have found footage of an anaconda that was over 15 meters in length, and if that was confirmed, it would be the biggest snake ever recorded in the modern world. There were some in prehistoric times that were known to get that big, if not bigger, but they are said to have all died out, and when you look at the footage it does look pretty intimidating. That is, until you have a closer look at what's being shown here. First off, as the news people in the clip highlight, the clip of the massive snake claims to be a shot from a river, but they can easily see a road in the distance. Then the two were able to find the original clip, and they realized that it was just stretched out to make it seem bigger than it was. So no, it is not a 15-meter-long anaconda, it's just internet trickery. That being said, in theory there could be one that gets near that size. After all, we can't say that we know how big every single snake in the world is now, can we? Number 4. The Toilet Monster. Believe it or not, there are plenty of tales about snakes and snake-like creatures coming out of toilets to haunt people in one form or another. No, it is not an urban myth. It does happen more than you may think.
In this case, a massive creature came out of a Malaysian toilet and was apparently dining on the sewage that the toilet pipes were connected to. Such incidents are often attributed to pythons or other large snakes that find their way into urban plumbing systems in search of food or shelter. These snakes are highly adaptable and can squeeze through incredibly tight spaces, making sewer systems an ideal hiding spot. In some cases, the snakes are drawn to the warmth and moisture of the pipes, as well as the abundance of rats and other small animals that inhabit these areas. Encounters like this are not only terrifying but also dangerous, as some of these snakes can be highly aggressive when startled. Animal control teams are often called in to safely remove the intruders, but the process can be challenging due to the confined spaces and the size of the snakes. Videos of such incidents often go viral, sparking both fascination and fear among viewers. Experts recommend keeping toilet lids closed and ensuring that plumbing systems are properly sealed to prevent such unwelcome surprises. And then it promptly got so big it had to exit through the toilet so that it could be on its merry way. To say the homeowners were shocked would be an understatement. I mean, would you want this thing coming out of your toilet? I don't think so. Number 3. The monster Burmese Python. Now earlier I noted that there are plenty of snakes who love to be in the water, and some of them love to specifically be in swamps. And guess what? One of them was found in Florida, because of course it was. Now I don't necessarily mean that as a joke this time. There is a snake infestation in Florida, because of non-native snakes like the Burmese python, who were introduced into the ecosystem by exotic pet owners after they had had enough of them and were done. Oh, and the ones like the Burmese python are not exactly small, as this one can attest to. Snake hunters, yes, that is a real job in Florida, went after one of these snakes and found what may have been the largest of the lot that had been captured to that point in 2020. Ryan Osborne and Kevin Pelvilatis were the hunters who went into the swamp to try and take out some of these invasive snakes, and they caught one which could have been over 6 meters in length, which makes for one big massive python. Oh, and it wasn't exactly an easy catch either, via the pictures they took of the capture, because you always need proof for this kind of thing. The snake at one point had tried to wrap itself around one of the hunters, which would have led to some very bad times for that guy, and thankfully the two came out alive, just tired from the hunt. And if you're wondering why snake hunter is a job in Florida, well, as I said, these pythons are invasive species, and they've been causing a whole lot of havoc to the ecosystem for many years. While it may be seen as a futile effort, getting rid of these snakes where they live can help other species to survive without the fear of being devoured. It's a messy job, but clearly there are people in Florida who are willing to do it. Number 2. The cottonmouth. Now this is one that might not be monstrous like some of the other creatures that I've shown you, but it is one that will definitely weird you out and make you hope that it doesn't happen to you. In this video, a guy is canoeing and filming his journey when he happens to come across a cottonmouthed snake that is just lying on top of the water. For whatever reason, that snake seems to be mesmerized by the canoe as it begins to follow it as the man tries to get away. It's a curious cottonmouth, you could say. Cottonmouths, also known as water moccasins, are semi-aquatic snakes that are often found in swamps, marshes, and slow-moving streams across the southeastern United States. They are known for their distinctive defensive behavior, where they open their mouths wide to reveal the white interior, a warning to potential threats. While they are not typically aggressive, cottonmouths will defend themselves if they feel cornered or provoked, which is why the man in the canoe was understandably cautious. Their venom contains hemotoxins that can cause severe tissue damage, swelling, and pain, making a bite a serious medical emergency. Despite their fearsome reputation, cottonmouths play an important role in their ecosystems, helping to control populations of fish, frogs, and small mammals. Encounters like this one serve as a reminder to respect wildlife and maintain a safe distance, even when the animal seems curious rather than hostile. Eventually that snake loses interest and allows the canoe to get away without any incidents being caused. If you're curious about why the canoe man was so anxious around the snake when he first noticed it, that would be because the cottonmouth is quite the venomous snake and its bites can do some serious damage to people if they're done in the right doses. So whether you're meeting a curious snake or not, you definitely are going to want to play defense with it and not let it get near you just to be safe. And hold on to your life. Sometimes the biggest of monsters are the ones that are the most unassuming. Number 1. The Bigfoot. Now you may not have expected me to begin with Bigfoot, but the irony about this tale is that while there are typically discussed in regard to the northern parts of the United States and Canada, there are also plenty of tales of Bigfoot that don't really belong in those areas. For example, one such story comes out of Florida, of all places. Yeah, if you ask us, Florida absolutely would be a place where Bigfoot would hang out. Down in a swamp near Lettuce Lake Park, which is by Tampa, a man named Matthew McCarney was doing some canoeing in the area when he saw something in the distance that he didn't recognize, and so of course he filmed it. And while he did not get a good look at it, as is the case in all of these videos, his first impression was that it was a bear. Being worried about people getting attacked by bears, he then showed it to a park ranger, who noted that bears don't typically come down to the swamps, not to mention they aren't often seen near the Tampa area, and so he looked at the footage more and started to wonder if it was indeed a Bigfoot. He even showed the footage to a skeptic that's known for debunking such videos, and that skeptic said that, while it didn't prove that Bigfoot existed, it didn't prove that it was fake either. So yes, Bigfoot may have well been in the swamp the entire time. No wonder we couldn't find him. Now obviously even the clip taker would say that you can't clearly see what's going on here with this creature, whatever it may be, and even I'll admit that the footage looks pretty compelling. If for no other reason than the image of Bigfoot is so obstructed half the time, it's hard to even tell what it is or isn't. To that end, it honestly could be a bear, and at other points it looks like it's walking on hind legs. Such bears are known to do. Plus there's some points where you can swear that you see a tail. Regardless of it all, it is one interesting story for all the Bigfoot fans to bite into and see if it's actually real. Well, that's all from the world of swamps and the creatures and monsters that people have claimed to see over the years. Were you amazed by some of the things people have spotted in swamps? Or do you think they're just making a big deal out of nothing? Maybe you know of another swamp tale that could fit on this list. Let me know in the comments section below. Check out the other cool things appearing on the screen, and I'll see you next time.